So we've set up something today to walk through the whole problem. What do you do in a house that you want to save? Because saving houses is part of housing. We actually had a study that came out not too long ago that in one situation found that houses built new now today were lasting 10 years before they had to be demolished because of mold. And when you lose a house in 10 years, that doesn't help your housing stock. So how do we stop that? We need to understand more about spotting mold and rot and what can we do about it in its early stages so we don't have to do a lot of damage to the house. So what we really need to do is look at the mold problem. We will be seeing some of this on the screen though, but if you look at the stages here or mine, we have a bathroom set up and there's a toilet hole for the toilet plumbing and a lot of black crap around the hole. So we got a problem of mold in the house and we're hunting it down. We lift the toilet and we find a situation like that. You walk on it and you probably feel a soft floor that is not solid underneath. Now, this is brand new, it's solid, but it could be soft. In fact, I wanted to have a piece of OSB here and Home Depot didn't have any OSB 5/8 of an inch. So we had to get past that. So what will you do? You're gonna go and investigate. If you can't get under the house, which is the case of much of First Nation housing, then we got to do it from the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out this floor piece. And I've actually marked a line away from the wall just far enough away to run the jigsaw. So that would be your first task, is to set that out. Then we need to cut that free. We have to chisel off where it's over a joist. So you can see in the front, I've got a joist right here. We've got to chisel off of the plywood there because I can't run the jigsaw. The same thing on the two edges. So I've actually pre-chiseled the edges to speed things up, and you guys in the challenge are going to take a hammer and chisel and cut away over the center stud, the center joist. And then we got to pull nails. Most old housing, now new ones, we had trouble finding ring shank nails, which are used for flooring. But most of your old housing was built with that stuff. It's a nail that just holds really hard. And it's hard to get out of old wood. It's going to be easy to get out of this. This is new wood. It's soft. But when it's old wood, it really holds. So we're going to use some special tools as to how to get in and pull it out. This is called, in the pamphlet, the demolition side. Robert, do you have one of the booklets for the training? I didn't bring mine. We called it demolition, and somebody came up with a much better term that we should have used, which is deconstruction. Demolition, you go crazy and you knock it all down. That's what I'm looking for. Deconstruction means you take it apart carefully. And if you take it apart carefully, you have less work putting it back together. And you're not much damage in there. And so where is it, page 9? You start with the big picture. If you look at this pamphlet that you got, which was used for our training session with the students yesterday, and it goes into a lot of detail, it says the mold problem, you got to go in and do that. You find it, and we call it the demolition or deconstruction stage. Then we got to cut out the mold. We've got to treat the mold. We've got to solve the problem here. Understand where the water's coming from in the first place. Okay, it's the toilet leak. If we fix this floor, the toilet won't leak. We got the problem. It's not the roof, it's not the window, it's not the sink, it's the toilet leak. We got it pinpointed. So if our problem is local, we look underneath. When you lift that up, you're going to find a rotten board. Rot for us is spray paint on the wood. Okay? And if it's old enough and in bad enough shape, you could probably rip out some of that wood with your fingers. So you do. Or you take a hammer claw and get rid of the worst of it. And then you take a jigsaw and you take out until you're down to some good wood. Now you've weakened the joist. So now we have to beef up the joist. But before we beef it up, we're going to treat it for sanitation to stop the mold. And we'll talk about that in detail when we get to that. And then we put in a sister, which is another board alongside, to strengthen the weak piece. That's our challenge 1. Challenge 2, we'll work some more down on the bottom and start building it up. Then we'll come up, we'll get a vinyl floor on it, and then we'll work on wood trim. around the floorboards. Okay, so that's what's going on today. But it's the structural problem. First of all, you find the problem, you get rid of it, you sanitize things. Then your structural problems have to be corrected so that it's all strong, ready to receive it. Then you, if your floor covering needs to be replaced, that's an opportunity to do it better than it was before. And we're going to do a special technique of wrapping the vinyl up to the wall, which gives us a basin so you can have a lot of spilt water and no mold because you can mop it up. It doesn't go under things. And then the baseboard trim. So all of the drawings and stuff we're going to be seeing up here, well, we are up and running, we can see up here will be in this booklet so you can actually follow along as you're going. Okay, we've got we have yesterday, we brought in, I think it was 14 students from local high schools. And we went through the whole day doing training on exactly this, on some other stages. So there are students at each station here who are ahead of the game. Okay, they've already done this a little bit yesterday. And then we have volunteers with them. So we're going to be working 2 by 2 as we're going on here. On the very first one, so all of you at your stations there, are we up and going on Zoom properly? You're up? Okay. And what we're going to need is we're going to take apart that floor. So we're going to need a jigsaw. So all of you in your stations, you've got a bunch of tools sitting back there. Dig in there, find your jigsaw. This little baby is called the cat claw. It looks like a mini crowbar, but it's designed, and we'll see how to use it. It's designed to not only pull nails, but to be able to get down into the wood under the head of the nail. Because that's always the problem, is how much do you chop away at the wood before you get the nail. So we'll be using a cat claw to pull that up. We're going to be we have a couple of hammers available to you. What's the difference between these two hammers? There's 100 hammers on the market, and they're all different. So, but you notice this one's lightweight, and it's got big curved ears. This one's got straight ears. This one is a framing hammer, heavy, do a lot of heavy construction, but these ears allow me to go in and punch that in between 2 boards and pry them apart, whereas I can't do it with this. This one is much better for pulling nails because I can rock back as you're coming out. But we're going to use the big one right now, and you're going to use the 1-inch chisel you got there. So those are the tools we need to get down into our floor. So a chisel, hammer, cat claw, and jigsaw. I'm going to show you very quickly. Watch this. I'm going to show you very quickly what we're doing, and we're running through it. Watch this, because then you get a 20-minute countdown to do the same thing at your station. You may not be able to finish. That's not important. We want what you do to be well done. Get as far as you can. You may get all finished and sit there and twiddle your thumbs. It may go fast. But you'll have a 20-minute countdown, and it's a hard count. At the end, you'll hear some music, and then when music stops, we all stop, and we're gone. Okay, so now let me just do a little demo for you here. And I'm going to move this table for the camera so he has more room to see. Okay. So if you can see back in here with the camera, let me see what you see. The line is across the floor here. And even before I pull the nails, I'm going to liberate this part right here. I have a joist. You could measure to find it, but I can actually see my joist screws on the other side. So it's right there on your boards. It's already marked in the center. So we don't need to cut that yet. I'm doing it back. We're going to cut with a saw. Jigsaw. Quick lesson on jigsaw. If you follow me right here, we'll go down here. Jigsaw, rule number 1 of jigsaw, you don't put your hand in front of the blade. Okay, that's a simple one. Number 2, if you do have to hold onto the blade, you get rid of the cord. Okay, unplugged from the wall. And so if there's no power, it's not going to jump on you. Now you have to have your jigsaw so that it always is in contact somehow with the wood, ideally flat down on the shoe, and then the saw can do its work. If you get up too high and get up here, you're on a pogo stick, and it'll guarantee you bound in there, bend your blade or snap. You won't get a good job. Got to be in contact with the wood. We're going into the wood, there's no hole. So what are we going to do to get in? This particular blade, how close can you get on the blade here for me? Let me put this someplace where it's steady for you on the camera. There, you see that point on the blade, that hook out there? It's called a hook, and it's for plunge cutting. It's in all your starter blades, and it's in your blade kits. Many blades don't have that. If you don't have it, you can't get into the wood, or you're going to fight really hard to get in. If you do have it, watch what it looks like here. If I set it up like this and come back, you see that tooth? It wants to bite. Now, I'm putting it up enough that I'm not touching. If you're here, whoop, then you're in trouble. So you can do it like that. And I move forward and come down. Let me put it over here where I won't be on the joist. Are we focused in on there? Okay. Now notice that my toe is solidly touching. If I don't have that toe touching, I don't have control. I've got two hands on the tool, my fingers are safe. Okay? I punch through, I'm ready to cut. It's really quite simple, but it's all about the shoe in contact with the wood, moving slowly, keeping your fingers out of the way. You don't want your fingers someplace where the saw's going to go get them. Okay? So, if you can watch, I think you can shoot the camera in there. I'm just going to do the right thing and grab. Oh, I don't have any glasses up here. Can somebody pass me a pair of glasses? Thought we had all the pieces set up. Thank you. Anytime you're working with something where the wood flies, whether it's a screwdriver or a saw, the dust gets to your eye before you have time to close your eyelid. Okay, don't count on your reflexes. Get some protection, use it. And particularly when you want to watch what you're doing. So I'm coming down in. I've already chiseled this out on the edge, and you'll see in yours it's done that way. So it's pretty easy to get in and get down. Then we're just going to run along. Now I want you to listen to my cut. You'll hear it from the microphone. It's going to change when I hit the joist. The tone changed. I'm on the joist. I don't want to cut through the joist. So I'm blind. I can't see it, but I can hear it. So you go up, you touch that. Even if you stop short, stop short. Jump to the other side. Do exactly the same procedure in reverse. So for you two, you have one of your two teams. You do it. There, it wasn't up. So you saw my jump initially. I wasn't comfortable in place. I was talking too much. I hear a difference. I stop. What's left is just that top of the joist. The chisel has a flat side and a bevel side. The flat side gives you a clean cut. The bevel side doesn't. So I want a clean cut on the back. So I put the flat side to the back. This chisel doesn't quite go the full length, and I hit it. Now you don't hit it gently like that. If you get up like this, you can't really hit it. You want to tap it just enough that it's in, so it's not jumping around the wrong place. And then you get mad. Okay, now you're actually better off wearing a glove while you're doing this so that if you miss, it just moves your hand. Notice that if I held it here and I missed with a hammer, I'd smash my hand. Hold it here and I hit it with a hammer, my hand pulls away. So you hold it high. Now we do that. We have to do it twice because it's too wide. Then we come around here with the bevel side. We have to get rid of some of this wood, but you notice, if you can see on the camera, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, right in there. I've got a clean cut on the wood that I want to keep. I've got a lousy bunch of scrap on the one that I'm cutting out. I'm not destroying both sides. I'm destroying one side. That's deconstruction. The wall falls down. And you'll feel, just like I could hear it with the saw cut, you'll feel when you get through the plywood. I'm probably close enough that that's going to work fine. Same hammer, new tool, cat claw. I've got nails here. This claw is specially made to stand it up in front of the nail. And let me look at the screen to see what you see. Okay, so you see it's right in front of the nail, a little bit away from it. And I'm actually just pounding into the wood. And as I pound, I'm going to pull it back this way. Now I'm sliding under the head. Now I pull the nail. Okay, and if the nail's really hard to pull, you bring it up just enough, and then you get your hammer in there and pull it out. But it's the cat claw that goes high, short of the, next to the nail, slide in under it, pull it. High. Now you notice I changed sides. Now, one little trick, if I were to do it like this, my pull would be on this piece of wood and the whole piece of wood would come up instead of just the nail. Let me do that. Show you why we don't do that. So I'm going to get the nail like that, but watch my plywood rise. Can you see that a little bit coming up? Particularly if I'm not on the plywood. The whole plywood is coming up, and that's not helping me get the nail out. If I simply put it around to this side, I'm on the wood itself, and it comes up. A little trick of deconstruction. Another trick is the nails. You don't leave them lying around. Put them someplace where you're not going to put your knee on it and end up with a punctured knee. So we come in, down, up. My nails are up. One other tool you need, great little tool, is it's actually a scraper of sort, but it's called a trim wedge or whatever you want. We usually use it in two, but Robert didn't give me my second one yet. Two of them allows you to bring this up part way with one and then grab it with the other. There we go. And it came off. Now, you don't throw this away. I marked it, in fact, because we got a bunch of them the same. Is because this is going to be useful in a minute. It could be rotten, could be terrible, broken up in pieces. But basically, what I'm going to do later on, after we get the new floor on, I'm going to lie that down on new floor, and I'm going to draw my hole through the template. I don't need a tape measure. I don't need to measure where that bloody hole is. I don't care where it is. I'm going to use this piece to put it in exactly the right place over the old hole. Okay, so it lines it up. I tell you that now in case I forget it later. Okay, we've got that out. Now what we have to do, now you got to do that really quickly. And once we got that all out, let me grab a pencil here. You can see the paint showing the mold up here on this. I'll just sort of say, well, I got to cut it out like that. And I'm going to just make a little cut because we don't have a lot of time. You're going to cut it out. And I suggest that one of the team members cuts halfway and the other team member cuts the other half just to get some going. Make sure your tool's working. Got glasses on. It's got to stay in contact. So it's on this side that's contact. onto the wood like that. So we're going to come down. Now, saws do have adjustments. This one has a lever that'll make it cut faster by going like that, and a lever that'll make it blow the dust away if you go like that. Get back into the hole. It was easier to finish it than talk about it. Okay? The saw and contact constantly with my pressure is down. I'm pushing forward. I don't have to do the work. Let the saw do the work. If it doesn't seem to be going, pull the trigger faster. Don't try to cut the wood with your arms. Your arms just carry the saw, and the saw cuts the wood. It's like taking a chainsaw and going like this. Doesn't make any sense. Okay? You let the chain do the work. So, now we got a sister that. So you're going to be able to pull those nails pretty fast and chop that because you're not going to talk about it. This is a sister that's set up for you. And it's going to rest on the foundation in the back. So we drop it into the hole here, come up on the foundation. It looks like it's going to be just a little tight. So I can get it almost in the right place. So it's supported on that end. And coming around on this end, you want to grab me a clamp, just any one of them. Thank you. And you simply, now, if you come back in here and give me a hand, what's your name? What? John? Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy, we want this flush on the top. So you're going to hold it just right there, flush on the top. And I'm going to come along, slide this clamp in, hold that. Okay, that's good. Now, Robert, I don't have any gloves up here, but there's an envelope, Jimmy, right there. Get me a long screw out of that envelope. Now, you all have envelopes on your benches. It's got some long screws, just long screws in here. That's all we got, huh? Yeah, it's all the same. To sister it, what we really want to do is put screws in from both sides. If you look at this screw, it goes almost through the two of them. Yeah. And if it went too long, we'd have a point sticking out over here, which is not a good idea, but you can do it. But if somebody's working down there later, they're going to run into that. So with one that's a ½ inch short, I can punch it through a little deeper here, and I'm still safe over there. We're going to, another screw. We're going to put half of our screws in one side and half of our screws in the other side. That puts the heads on opposite sides. It makes it twice as strong. Much better than all of them on one side, but by going back and forth. About every 6 inches in a stagger, so they're not all lined up on the same wood grain. I'm only going to put one single screw in because of time. But you need to position your body well so you've got an angle on it. When you're driving a screw, it's like the chisel. I never hold a screw. Let the camera come again. I never hold a screw down here. It's easy to line it up, but if the screwdriver jumps off, I put a hole in my thumb. I always hold screws up here, and then you just barely get it started until you can get your hand out of there. And now you're free to push hard. When you push here. You don't push here because that changes the angle and the screwdriver pops out of the screw. You push here, this is just pulling the trigger, and then I can get it. If you're having trouble, which you'll have with long screws, instead of trying to make it all in one shot, you give it little shots. That seems stupid, but what it does is it resets the screwdriver down into the socket. So whenever a screw is giving you trouble, a lot of pressure and little shots, so we can just put it in there. Now that big noise you hear is the drill. There's also a noise sometimes of having that just popping out and coming out. Well, I'm done for now. We'll do that later. But so you put a few screws in like this, both sides of the face, a few screws there. What I forgot, and I don't want you to forget. Do we have the slideshow that we can throw up there? Now this is a lot of stuff that I already talked to. Whoops, my zapper's not working. Can you advance it to advance it again? Again, that's what the choice looks like. Let me just see if no, it's not working. So go forward. I want to just show the chemicals here. Okay, we're down. Stop. We've got this cut out, and most of the bad wood's gone. You could treat it with something as simple as end-cut treatment, which kills fungus. It's what we use on the end of 2x4 lumber or any pressure-treated wood that we cut. That would mean that the fungus that's left there won't grow. That doesn't work on a big mass of mushy stuff. It's what's left over. And so you have little bottles of water because I didn't want the hotel rug to be green colored. Okay, so you have little bottles of water, and before you put the sister on, because I'm hiding part of it, you need to spray all that black stuff. And I just want you to do that symbolically because that'll register in your head, hey, I'm supposed to spray something, okay? And you spray that on. Now you can use the end cut treatment. You can use, if you go back to the image, a wood hardener, Varathane, Minwax. They both make them. It's more expensive. It does, like you say, it has skull and crossbones on it, so it does kill the fungus, but mostly it hardens the wood. The end cut treatment does not. It gives us more strength in the wood. If you want to go really exotic, you get to BCS epoxy, highly toxic, hard to get to, expensive. It kills fungus, it hardens wood, and adds strength to the wood. It was actually invented to petrify a log in a log cabin that would rot it out without removing the log. So it was designed to not have to deconstruct the whole house to fix one rotten log. And so they can bring it back to life. It's amazing stuff. Yeah, I can find it on the web. It's now used mostly in marine supply for wooden boats. So if you've got a wooden boat with a problem, that's your solution. Now, that's a lot, but that's what we're doing in the first job. If you think about it, we're going to cut a slot, we're going to chop it away on the top, we're going to pull the nails, get it out of there. We're going to spray we're going to come in and cut the saddle out here, spray the sanitation, and then put the sister in with several screws. We'll see how far you get in 20 minutes. That's all we got because I talk too much. And that'll be our first challenge. Are you guys go for that? So you're going to start with cutting your line, chiseling it out, nails, go down in there, cut out the saddle, sister it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. You got 20 minutes. Now, you're not being judged on how beautiful you do. You're being judged if you're using good technique and how far you get. We don't expect you to all finish all of this. Don't rush and have an accident. Do what you do well. Just same thing as in construction. Don't get in a rush just because somebody wants the job done. Good. Are you ready to jump? Uh, What's it look like? Slide your knife in over there and then slide it over. Yeah. You're free? No, but you're free? Ready to rip it off? That's good. I'll give you a line there. Put in some more screws. Stagger them. And the ideal situation for the screws is they don't mate. So if I got a screw here, then I'll put a screw in down here on the other side. Ah, you did. Okay. So let's just do a few more screw staggering because you got time. And we got to use up our screws.
Yeah. It's their wood.
Looking good. There's an envelope of screws right there on your workbench. We're doing really well. We got about 8.5 minutes left. So don't rush. Put in more screws if you need to. Now, once you got a couple screws in, you can get rid of that clamp and get it out of the way. You got a screw in this end already? If you put a screw in there, then you can take the clamp off. You get, you feel how that triggering actually helps you stay in the screw? Because it wanted to pop out and you did a great job. People often think, oh, triggering, that must be because you're not good. No, it's because you don't want to turn off the head of the screw. That you hadn't set it yet. Small screwing until it's set. There you go. Now you can put your hand back. Yeah. Yeah, because as you can feel in that case, the triggering resets the screw. You all done? Put in some more screws. Oh, then you put them all in. One more. Okay. Why don't you put it in? Okay, we're actually wrapping up within the time. Took me longer to talk about it than it took you to do it. Okay. I think we're ahead of time, but we're done over 1, 2, 3 is just finishing up. Did you remember to spray your fungus? You sprayed it. Okay. Now give me some feedback from those of you that have been working on this. No, that's the next challenge. We got to divide it up in pieces. Okay, we're done there. How are we doing on the last one over there? Okay, once you got a good bite, get your finger out of there and put the weight right in line. That's it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Just get a bite. Okay, get your finger out. Put your hand right on the butt. You feel how that keeps the bit down in the bottom of the socket of the screw. I think you got it done, huh? Once you pull your clamps off, nothing's gonna fall at this stage. Just okay. I want a little feedback from those of you that were in the contest. That whole thing of triggering for the long screws, that seemed to work for you to socket it back in? Because we never realized that was the real purpose of triggering, was to get it to reset as you're going down. Because otherwise, if you let it spin, you'll wear the head of the screw, and then you can't even get it out, let alone get it in. So now with a good staggering of the structural screws and all of that, if anybody's really paranoid, they could have put construction adhesive between the sister and the joist, and you'd have a rock of Gibraltar down there. But that's now just about ready to finish off. We tried to divide things up between the groups, so the next group's going to just finish off with the blocking, putting the board back down. Actually, I'm quite happy with this. You finished 5 minutes ahead of schedule, and usually we're 10 minutes overtime because we have too much stuff for you to do. And I wasn't sure how long it was going to take you, but you guys were fast. I think it helped that the students did this yesterday and had a running start at it. You all done back there? Okay. So we'll call it a stop. 5 minutes time left over. Judges, it's up to you. They're already consulting. Now, in the next one, what time do we start? Tell me out loud. 11:15? Okay. The next challenge, we're going to finish this off and declare a winner and get prizes. By the way, you all get to keep your gloves, your hard hats, and your glasses, all of the participants. Okay? Keep your gloves, hard hat, and glasses. The next one's at 11:15, and what I'd really like is all the participants who are going to participate in the next one show up early so that we can be all set up there. I can do my blah, blah, and then you can go to it, and we get it all done in the time allotted. We don't want to take too much time. I always get criticized for talking all day, and so I get paid to shut up this time. Any particular problems you see, things that were particularly difficult, or how about the jigsawing off on the side? We had some trouble with that yesterday, but that worked. But jumping a little bit, it was jumping a little bit, and so I had to put some pressure so that the shoe stayed against the weight. Because when you're in a weird angle, that's sometimes hard to do. A little secret, when it's really a bad angle, you're cutting through like a 2x, and you're lying on your back someplace, and there's no way you can really hold it right, is move slowly but pull the speed fast. So the saw is really doing all the work. So it's going fast, but you're moving slowly. Don't try to move fast, because when you try to move fast, you're putting pressure forward, and that can bind the blade. And so if you're moving slowly, but speed is fast, you'll find that you can get out of problems that are awkward. And if it's really awkward or wants to absolutely jump, you got to stop and figure out how do you change your position. As you keep going, that blade will. Yesterday we had one that bound the blade, it bent the blade, and the blade was dead. So if that was your last blade on the job, you got a good saw with no teeth. It doesn't cut very well. Huh? Yeah, you wait till they fly up more. Right, exactly. Okay. 2 more minutes, say the judges. Actually, they got 2 more minutes before the contest is over, so we're going to be ahead of time here. Now, dealing with mold, anytime you're doing the cleanup process, you do want to wear masks. And if it's a lot of it, you want to close off the room so you don't spread it to the rest of the house. Close off any ventilation ducts. Who?
We have a decision.
Okay, which team 4? Where 4 is right over there. No, it's over. Oh, you're counting them that way because they were numbered in the other direction. So there's numbers on the desk. But anyway, so you're saying this one is the winner. Okay. Get your partner. Yay. What do you got for prizes? Congratulations. Who said women couldn't do this? Okay. Okay, we'll see you at 11:15. And if you're in the contest, just a little early.